Hello, welcome to Theosophy in Wales. I'm Dave Marsland. Instinct and intuition. Well, these two faculties are often confused with each other, but they are quite different and they do have different evolutionary origins, and they originate in or are governed by different parts of the human constitution. Okay, let's begin with instinct. Well, this is a survival mechanism and we share it with all the other kingdoms of nature. And we acquired it on our journey, our evolutionary journey, up through the lower kingdoms. The fight or flight response is part of our instinct. Now, it originates in the lowest level of mind. So it requires then no rational thought or decision making. You just have it. You respond to something in a certain way, and you could regard it as a hardwired tendency towards a particular behaviour. Anyway, we have it, we certainly share it with other kingdoms of nature, and you see it mostly, it's quite recognisable in the animal kingdom. Now, intuition, slightly different, that is a cognitive faculty, and it circumvents and transcends reasoning. It's beyond reasoning. And it originates in, or is governed by, a combination of the Buddhic principle, the body of enlightenment, and the highest level of mind. Now, the highest level of mind you are able to call up experience from previous lives. So you would have your body of enlightenment, your experience of previous lives, but I think also in some instances with intuition there is a psychic faculty at work there. It does come into play. Not everybody would agree with me on that, but I think there is sometimes that you go beyond just the material world in this, and you are engaging a psychic faculty when you use your intuition, but not in every instance. Right, examples. Well, examples of instinct. Firstly, if you're outside the public closing time and an ugly incident develops, you make yourself scarce. You clear off. That would be instinct. You just go. But a good example, and this was on television in 2001. During the 2001 election, Cabinet Minister John Prescott was hit on the back of the head with an egg. The guy came up behind him, just hit him with this egg on the back of his head. He swung round, or he turned around, and he took a swing at the guy. And it obviously required no thought or decision making. He responded instinctively because he thought he was being attacked. The survival mechanism kicked in. He was under attack. His primary concern would be survival, but he didn't have to think about it. He just responded to what could have been actually quite a nasty attack, because he didn't know it was just an egg at first. It could have been anything. Anyway, that would be an example of instinct and being hardwired, possibly behave in a certain way in a given circumstance where you're actually threatened. Intuition. Now, this is a cognitive faculty. William Quan Judge said that if you are too rational and too analytical, then you crush your intuitive faculty. Now, Harrison E. Salisbury, the American journalist, he wrote a book called The Many Americas Shall Be One, and in it he gives 6 examples in history of when experts have been wrong. Mind you, there are many examples when experts have been right, but he gives 6 examples where experts have been wrong. And one example he gives is that Roosevelt's advisors during the Battle of Britain told him that told him that Britain would lose the Battle of Britain. As it happens, we didn't. We held on. But Roosevelt didn't accept this. He thought that we would probably hold on. But he was ignoring the advice of people who were acknowledged experts. Was he using an intuitive faculty? Did he know more than he thought he did? It's interesting that he was prepared to go against the advice of his advisors on that occasion, who was acknowledged experts, possibly the best in the business. And it's also possible Roosevelt's aware that experience and knowledge cannot take account of all the variables, of course, and that being an expert, of course, doesn't give you intuition. It may give you intuition. It may open up your intuitive faculty, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will do so. Now, that's an example possibly of people working without intuition, or their rational, analytical minds discounting it, blocking it out, or crushing it. An example, take this one from literature, of somebody who knows something but doesn't have any evidence for it, is proved right, is David Copperfield when he meets Uriah Heep, and he knows straight away that Uriah Heep is dishonest. He knows it's there, he just knows this. He's no actual evidence for it, but he looks for it, and he checks things out, and he finds out that Uriah Heep is in fact dishonest. He's proved right. And I think that's often in our lives. We have dealings with people, and we're not happy about something, there's something wrong, and very often we're proved right, in the same way that sometimes we know that something is going to turn out well, but we don't have a particularly solid rational reason for that, or we know something's a doomed project, and very often we're proved right. And that is an example of our intuitive faculty coming into play. Now, sometimes I think that experience and knowledge can be mistaken for intuition, possibly in specialist fields. I'll give us an example of this. Captain James Stagg, who was Eisenhower's weather forecaster during the period of the Normandy landings. Now, the view was the weather was bad, they would have to postpone the invasion of Normandy for probably, that'd be a month. But Captain Stagg said, no, there will be a gap in the weather, an opportunity, a window of opportunity to get the invasion across. And he was right. And he had none of the modern equipment. He didn't have any satellites giving him information. All he had were weather maps and weather reports from weather stations and ships at sea. That's all he had. But I think he had spent so much time working on weather. He knew what was going to happen. He could spot trends and link pieces of information together just through experience. I don't think he was actually using intuition. He was just a smart guy who used the knowledge and experience that he had. So that's an example possibly where someone makes a right decision, but it's based on experience and knowledge. Now, if you've got knowledge and experience and you're intuitive, I think that can be very powerful. Now, give two examples of that, of people who have they clearly had a lot of knowledge and experience. These were Howard Hughes and Conrad Hilton, and highly successful financially. And I think they couldn't just read a balance sheet and make business decisions. They were so successful that their ability went beyond that. I mean, Howard Hughes, actually a very weird guy, but he knew how to make money. Conrad Hilton, highly successful Hilton chain of hotels. So these were very successful people, and I think that they both they were made ultra successful financially by experience and knowledge and bringing into play, being prepared to listen to their intuition. And I think that can be very powerful. And I think we all have, and you know, we may deny it, but I think we all have an intuitive faculty, and sometimes we block it out. But if we start to trust it, I think it will grow, and it will, you know, let it work. It will grow, rather than just relying on its rational and analytical mind and information alone. So there we are.